And welcome to virtual classes organized by Board of Studies, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for the intermediate level paper 7B strategic management. I am Anand Saxena. I look forward to an engaging session this time with you on this very exciting paper. Good evening, Radha. I hope you have been fine and very happy to have you on board. As you would have seen, the schedule of my classes with you, is like this. In today's session, I am expected to cover Chapter 1 and also introduce you to Chapter 2. However, I will exercise my liberty and discretion because I believe that Chapter 1, which builds on the basic concepts of the syllabus, the foundation of the kind of entire syllabus. So I will be going slow and thorough as far as elaborating the concepts is concerned. My rest of the classes are on your screen. You can see. Good evening, Meghna, and good evening, Aditya. Thank you for joining in this session. I hope you will find it worth attending and useful. And I will be surely taking your queries, especially from Chapter 1, otherwise from anywhere, to stay focused as far as our approach to conducting the sessions is concerned. I will be utilizing some of our learning companions here, and wherein I will be encouraging you to deep dive into concepts, and I'll be bringing in an expert talk on some vital aspects of your syllabus, and of course I will be relying to on your extant knowledge, and I'll be encouraging you to recall whatever you have kind of studied so far. And we'll be doing a couple of activities as we go along as far as the class is concerned. While preparing for the paper, in fact, for any paper, it is very important to, look at the chapter overview, because this overview provides you at a glance, view of all that is that needs to be concerned, that needs to be covered. And good evening. My voice is low. The controls, please ensure that my voice is okay, because Vijeta informs me that my voice is low. Anirban, Sukanya, welcome. Mukamla, welcome. Vaishnavi, welcome. I hope I am audible enough and you are getting my voice fine. So Vijayji, please ensure that the volume of transmission is good and it is well received at the end of our learners. Yeah, so the point that I was making is this, that the chapter overview, one has to really focus and try and develop a narrative or a story arising out of this overview. So all these are static blocks, but when we transact these and when we read these become kind of dynamic. So as you can see that, and there is a way of looking at this, and is how it all happens. Otherwise, once I have done the first reading of the the chapter, my approach looking at the same figure becomes somewhat different. Now, for example, our chapter name is strategic management, right? So, of course, the underlying concepts will be the word strategy and the management. So that's where, so I can say strategic management is the management that is planning, implementing, and controlling of a strategy, right? So I can then focus on concept of management and concept of strategy, and I can combine these two concepts to arrive at the concept of strategic management, right? And then work on these relationships, because there are various levels in an organizational hierarchy, top, middle, and lower. So corresponding to that, we can envision strategic levels in an organization. And as you can see, there are separate chapters devoted to it: corporate level, business level, functional level, right? And then we can look at the kind of fact that strategic management is practiced, is needed and critical for the success of all types of organizations, not only for-profit or business or commercial organizations, but also the government and not-for-profit organizations. So therefore, I reiterate that this chapter overview, the diagram, the graphic is very important for you, and find time to reflect on it. And as you can see on screen, as per your own convenience and understanding of the phenomena, you can little bit modify it. Because if you remember, if you can see on the right panel, on the top, I have mentioned strategic management process, which is chapter 3, and then corporate level, chapter 4, business level, chapter 5, functional level, chapter 6. So, this is how, the entire syllabus cascades, for you right at the beginning of chapter 1. Okay, so Vanshika, as you said, the approach to study the subject should be to focus on these, what you call chapter overview. I will show you, for example, what I did when I got this assignment, long time, not much time back. I will just show you what I did for this particular classes. As probably you can see, this is my folder, right? Can you see my folder, right? So what I have done is that I have taken out the diagrams, the chapter outlines of all the chapters. Can you see this? Yeah. So this gives you an idea in terms of the scope of every chapter, and that's where you go. Secondly, because I will go from full screen mode, from the slideshow mode to the other mode. Wait a minute. I will change the mode of my display here on screen, because you have asked me to strategy for preparing. Remember, I sent you, I hope all of you have got the notes that I sent for this chapter, the study notes that I sent for this this chapter. If you can quickly type in yes, so that I may assure myself of the fact that you have. Okay, good. Yeah, I have not changed the slide as yet, so you can see. No, what I wanted to confirm was that whether, yeah, I've gone. Whether you can see, you have received the study notes, a 2-page document, I think 3-page document that I sent. Could you quickly type in yes to confirm whether you have received? Whether you have received the document? The document is like this. Have you all got this document or not? Please confirm by typing yes or no. And maybe this you can do even in the chat box maybe. I don't know whether this allows you to do the chat. Notes are not in the BOS link. Okay, then they will sort it out. But what I have done is that, and this I have done illustratively. I may not do it for all the chapters. But what I have done is that I will zoom it in right now for your benefit, and I will ensure that it reaches you duly. You can use this as a template for the successive chapters. Because depending upon my time convenience and so on, I'll see if I can give you a couple of these study notes from other chapters also. But then I would encourage you to make your own notes on this. And what I have done, I have essentially done cut paste. You have got your study material. It is available online also, so you can take the content from there and put it on Word, and then you create your own document. So the first and the foremost thing is the chapter outline, which is there in every chapter, graphically, and then also the learning objectives. For example, what business policy and strategy is all about. So immediate a question will come to your mind. Oh, business policy and strategy, are these the same terms? Are there differences? If so, then what are the differences? Almost invariably, your study material will provide the answer, because these are the learning outcomes. But somewhere, if you are not able to immediately identify it, you have to search very hard. You can take recourse to Google and kind of update yourself. Now, the framework of strategic management and importance of strategic management. So, and the trick is that you do control find in the chapter. Look for the word framework, where the word framework is, zoom it on, and then, kind of aware. So what I'm trying to suggest is that try to, be aware of each and every word that is used in the learning objectives. And then frame in your minds the questions relating to the concepts. Now, then you can see, learn how strategy operates at different levels of organization. So you have to check levels, and then you can arrive at the various levels of strategy formulation, and then the importance, and then the government and the not-for-profit organizations. So, notes will be uploaded, Manshai, be assured, Kapil. I think duly they will be putting it across. In fact, I had put up an exercise here also, and I was hoping that I will begin the session with the exercise follow-up rather than my own presentation. But nevertheless, it doesn't really matter. So it is a two-page, three-page document, wherein I have also, designed an exercise, focusing on the concept strategic. When a particular decision is regarded as strategic. So that is where, I have ended this particular note. This will duly reach you. Don't worry. Coming back to the presentation, and now I will go full screen, and the point that, of course, I was making, I have already made. For developing an initial understanding of the concept strategy, I think the definition which is there on this slide on the top is very, very important. And your study material doesn't completely quote Gulick and George. So it just says that strategy is a unified, comprehensive, and integrated plan. So it stops there only. What I have done is that, and I would encourage you to take a maybe image of this. This presentation will, in any case, be sent to you subsequently. Yeah. ऐसा क्यों है? ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है यार? Just a minute. I realize that my screen is not visible here. Stop share करूं? कर्सर भी नहीं जा रहा. And shall I share again? Huh? Is it okay now? Let me play it full screen. Yeah. ऐसा क्यों हो जाता है जब मैं इसे प्ले करता हूं फुल स्क्रीन? तो अभी आ रहा है? ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? प्ले में तो आना चाहिए ना इसको. तो दिखेगा नहीं लर्नर्स को, क्योंकि अगर फॉन्ट, वैसे तो फॉन्ट ठीक है, दिख रहा है पूरा विजिबल, पढ़ा भी जा रहा है. ओके, परफेक्ट. So the point that I was making was that to develop, the first building block, or the foremost understanding of the concept of strategy, I think the definition by Gulek and George is very, very important. The study material gives only only a partial, quotes only partially Gulek and George. What I have done is that I have extended the definition given in the study material to incorporate the relationship with the environment. And I will read it for your benefit so that you can put it together. Strategy is a unified, comprehensive, and integrated plan that relates the strategic advantages of the firm to the challenges of the environment. Now, this is important. So strategy is a plan that integrates the firm's strategic advantages with the challenges of the environment. This is fundamental to understanding strategy. And this linkage with the environment is what sets strategy apart from any other type of plan. No other plan makes a specific reference to the business environment. So strategy is a plan that connects the firm with its environment. And of course, it connects the firm with its environment with a view to ensuring that the basic objectives of the enterprise are achieved through proper execution by the organization. So we need strategy not for its own sake, but we need strategy for the sake of achieving the objectives of the firm. This definition, I am going to pause and kind of reflect on more on this, so that this sucks in, this settles in, and is internalized by you in being sure of the definition of strategy. Now, strategy is a plan, so it is sure. It will relate the firm, and here the firm is articulated in terms of its advantages. That means every firm has certain resources, right? These resources enable the firm to fulfill a need, right? And the quality of the resources, and of course the quantity of the resources, lend strength to the firm's capabilities, right? Firm's capability also lies in utilizing these resources. It is not only about having a resource or being in ownership of a resource, but it is how you use this resource that will give you the advantage, right? So a strategy links the firm's advantages with the environment, because environment is full of opportunities, at times challenges too. And the firm has to seize upon and take advantage of or benefit from the environmental opportunities, and therefore it has to deploy its resources in a way that it derives maximum out of it. Here, the point that I'm trying to make is this. We say the objective of the firm is profit maximization, for example. How much profit is the maximum profit? How do we benchmark? And then when you are doing business, you are making some profits or generating some revenue anyways. Where does the strategy make a difference? And you can put this argument even in the importance of strategy management also, that strategy allows a firm to perform or to outperform the industry. So the utility of strategy lies in what you call, I will do some live typing for you to highlight the point that I am making. Above average return. This is where strategy finds its legitimacy or its reason for existence. Because, for example, that when it comes to profitability, we can look at normal profits and then supernormal or above normal profits. You would have done in probably in valuation of goodwill or something like that. So the utility of strategy lies in enabling the firm to earn above average return. Because when I say firm is only one of the participants in an industry. And in a way, it is competing with the other firms, right? And all the firms are making profits, and we can calculate the industry average, right? So I would like to be an above average, firm, and the strategy will find its justification only when it allows me, it provides me with the leverage to earn above average return. So this takeaway is very important for you. Otherwise, everybody is doing business, is it not? And everybody is making some profit or the other. Here, strategy, gives me, provides me with the leverage to persistently, occasionally I might earn above the market or below the market. It is quite possible. Even if I am doing nothing. But when I am doing strategy and strategic planning or strategic management, it should give me persistently above average return. That is the beauty of strategy. So I hope you will keep this concept of above average return in mind. I will just tweak the concept a little bit, and you see what I mean. I will convert it into above average performance. Now, instead of return, what I have done is I have tweaked the concept to highlight performance. Because now this gives me even bigger leverage because a firm's performance can be variously defined. Now, for example, I'm sure you are students of intermediate, you would be knowing that these days firms are valued not only on the basis of their profitability, but also, for example, on their performance on the planetary concerns, ecology, how much they are contributing to the conservation of environment. So a strategy should allow the firm to perform better than its competitors, even on what is called triple bottom line. By the way, if you could just type in yes or no. Okay. Is it better now? Yeah. Yeah. So, are you? Let me kind of do a test drive here. As I said, I'll be using the test drive feature. Please tell the difference between top line and bottom line. Could you quickly type in your responses on the question platform? Difference between top line and bottom line, because I just used the word triple bottom line. So I wish to be sure whether you understand the top line and bottom line, and where do these two words come from? Please tell. Quickly type in. Moini cleverly asked, so for earning normal or average, don't we need strategy? You see, the strategy's utility lies in enabling you to earn above average profit. In fact, I will come to this point with respect to the market forms, Moini. It's a clever question, but nevertheless, because normal profit, average profit, everybody is earning, is it? Even you will earn, is it not? So, horizontal and vertical lines. Top line are management. Top line refers to company's revenues or gross sales. Bottom line is a company's net income. Ishika, wow, spot on. So there's a scholar badge for Ishika. I hope all of you have got the meaning of it. So Ishika gets a scholar badge. Very good. So Ishika writes back, top line refers to a company's revenues or gross sales. Bottom line is a company's net income. So the point that I was making was that when we argue that the utility of the strategy lies in enabling a firm to outperform, the industry, or to outperform the competition. And when I tweaked the concept from return to performance, I said whatever be the performance criteria. So if triple bottom line is the criteria, so here when we talk about triple bottom line, we mean not only the profits. Profits come below the line, you know that, and we also look at the contribution to the environment and also to the society. So remember, triple bottom line comprises people, planet, and profitability, TBL. Right? Triple bottom line, people, profits, planet. So it's not only economic performance. You would have done in class 11, objectives of business are not only economic objectives, but also social objectives and environmental objectives. So the strategy must enable you to outperform others, even on the count of contribution to the society and contribution to the sustainability, environmental sustainability. So the top line and bottom line does not come from the stock market, Vanshika. If you look at the typical T-shaped account, right? So on On the right hand side of the profit and loss account, you mentioned sales. Sales goes on the top line, and then net profit comes at the bottom. So this is where the word top line and bottom line have come from, right? So continuing with the concept of strategy, and remember we just focus on Bullock and George. Why I am emphasizing above average return to go back to the concern and query of Mohini, who says for earning normal or average don't we need strategy. The thing is that a firm is competing for various types of resources with other firms, right? In fact, not only within the same industry but across the industries. So question is, why will investors put money in you, in your company, I mean to say? Only when they hope to earn better than the rest of the companies. So that is where you have to outperform, the other competitors. And as I said, competitors may not lie within your own industry, but you might actually be competing with companies across. To make it simple, because you have mentioned the stock market. So the stock market gives you an average return, what is called index return. So investors will be interested in putting in money which give you more than the index return, right? So they will put their money in the companies whose share gives them higher returns than the index returns. So that is where the focus of strategy is on enabling the firm to return or to provide above average performance, right? So I hope the meaning of strategy, the meaning means its value from the perspective of above average performance is clear to you all. Okay. The second important definition, which is not there in your study material, but which I would highlight, is that a strategy or a strategic decision is infrequent and non-recurring. That means strategic decisions do not occur on frequent decisions, which a firm takes. Secondly, it requires irreversible commitments, and the commitments are usually large commitments. So you make investment, for example, huge investment of resources, and going back may not be possible, or if at all it is possible, it will require huge, kind of setback to your market standing and so on and so forth. So the strategic decisions are irreversible. And these decisions, of course, as even Bullock and George emphasize, relate the firm to its external environment. So that's also very important, because these are the parameters that you have to, or criteria that you have to apply to tell whether a particular decision is strategic or not. And it is in this context that I had designed a test drive for you to ascertain and to assure yourself that you can discriminate between strategic decisions and non-strategic decisions. The classical dichotomy is okay, I will put it here. Strategic decisions versus operational decisions. So all decisions are not strategic. Only those decisions which are infrequent, non-recurring, irreversible, relate the firm to its environment. And in fact, I must also emphasize that they bring about I am doing it live for you, and bring about keep taking notes along with me also, because once we write with our own hands, that's what sticks in our mind. So brings about a substantial change in the fortunes of the firm. It alters as if my product and market configuration, right? So these are the criteria. So I have to look at the decision, whether it is infrequent or non-recurring, it is irreversible, then it brings about a substantial change in the fortunes of the firm, then it is strategic, otherwise it is non-strategic, So therefore, these definitions, one by the Bullock and George, that drives us to the idea of above average performance, and that of Villan and Hunger, that provides us with certain criteria to evaluate whether a particular decision is strategic or not, is important. And that's where I had designed a assessment for you. Let us do this assessment right now. I would be very happy if you participate and respond. Now, for example, I will be zooming it for your benefit, so that can you see the Word document on screen now? Or in case you are not able to see, what I will do is that I will put it on the slide itself, because maybe the slide is visible to you, not the... it is here. Okay, this is the first question that I had designed for you. Now, you would have read in the newspapers that government targets rupees 1.3 lakh crore from rail, telecom, and asset monetization. Do you think it is a strategic decision? Please respond by typing in yes or no. Quickly, please. Quickly, please. Is it a strategic decision? Government targets rupees 1.3 lakh crore from rail, telecom, and asset monetization. Hello, are you not getting me? I have not seen any response as yet. Or maybe there is some friction among you to transfer or to migrate from the slideshow and to the question application, because I cannot see any responses as yet. No problem. As you can see that this is a major departure from the government's policy and on the public sector enterprises, and this is an attempt in a way to divest the public sector enterprises, and that's where you see that it becomes a strategic decision, and it, as you can see, it is a massive decision and entails a huge alteration in the government's resources which it proposes to put to welfare uses, right? So therefore, it becomes a strategic decision. Look in contrast, another decision that I have given, this is, I think, yesterday's news only, wherein this is second, Amazon and Flipkart and all these, e-commerce, e-retail companies have announced this Holi. Holi means the festival of Hindus that is coming up on 29th March. They are launching a sale. Would you call it as a strategic decision, or it's an operational decision? So you know that organization of these sales is usual for the firms to spruce up their brand identity and to their revenues. So it becomes an operational decision rather than a strategic decision. So I think the first and the foremost learning today in the 40 minutes, last 30 minutes or so has been our understanding about the distinction between strategic and non-strategic decisions. And now we can really define strategic decisions are those that are infrequent and non-recurring, reversible, and then involve large commitments. It relates the firm to its external environment and brings about a substantial change in the fortunes of the firm. Incidentally, the example that I have taken up of the public sector disinvestment, relates to the last, aspect of chapter 1, which talks about strategic management in government and not-for-profit organizations, right? And you can see that the government has to think strategically when it comes to its resources and when it comes to its aspirations and the goals and the challenges that it has to meet, whether the defense or be it the pandemic. So, and how it marshals its resources and thinks strategically to achieve those objectives. So, and this also drives you home the point that strategic management is necessary, not only for the business enterprises, but also the government enterprises and the not-for-profit enterprises too. So, and I have, of course, designed some, kind of exercises based on these ideas. Now, the next slide is interesting, and it comes not from your study material directly, but it comes in rather indirectly from your study material. If you look at your study material of chapter 1, in the limitations of strategic management, it is written that the environment is complex and volatile or turbulent. They have used the word turbulent. So if the environment is complex and turbulent, the success of the strategy, becomes kind of very difficult, and that becomes a limitation of strategy. So what I have done is that I have turned this limitation into a full-fledged discussion on the nature of the business environment and how a strategy actually can help us deal with the diverse business environment. You see, it is not that a company is performing or operating in only one jurisdiction. It may be, for example, a multinational company, it may be operating in different countries, and different countries will have different socio-economic political environment and a different level of governance. Some environment would be very predictable, some may not be very predictable. For example, government policy may not be predictable in certain jurisdictions, whereas in other cases, the government policy is fairly predictable, right? So how does strategy help a firm negotiate with this environment complexity? This VUCA, VUCA, I cannot put it on the full screen because then somehow display gets haywire. As you can see, this matrix, the type of business environment which a company faces, I have used this 2 dimensions here. I'll be calling in an expert in a short while from now to talk to you about the 3rd dimension of the business environment also. But for the moment, the 2 dimensions of the business environment, because we have said strategy relates the firm to its environment. One is that how much you know about the situation, whether you are aware of the business environment or not, and whether you can predict the outcome of your actions. So how predictable is it? And as you can see, minus and plus signs indicate low and high. And accordingly, you may face complex environments, volatile environments, you may experience ambiguous environments, and you may experience uncertain environments. Generally, complexity means there are lots of factors, and you are not able to attribute any particular phenomenon to a particular factor. For example, theoretically, we say our environment is social, economic, political, and so on and so forth. The complexity means you may not be able to pinpoint whether a particular observation fits in the economic environment or in the social environment, right? So that makes the things very complex, and that means the economic and the social environment may be intertwined, or maybe the technological environment also comes in. So you may not be able to identify and attribute a particular phenomenon very correctly to this. Now, for example, recourse to online teaching, is it attributable to the social environment, to the technological environment, to the ecological environment? No, right attribution is very difficult, right? And you have to get into so many things, and the kind of changes, for example, the online teaching has brought about. It is not only technological changes; the whole pedagogy has undergone a change. So the VUCA framework is very important framework, although not in your syllabus, but it helps you gauge the fact that the environments which a firm faces are different. Not all environments are same. And accordingly, strategy must enable us to negotiate these environments. In the next slide, I am just suggesting how it happens. So when the environment is volatile, changing very fast, strategy enables you to pursue your vision. Because those who, with a clearer vision, will be able to surpass turbulence, environmental turbulence. And when there is uncertainty, strategy provides understanding. Where there is complexity, strategic management provides clarity. When there is ambiguity, it provides agility. So this slide is important, and what I've done is that I have done the limitation of strategic management in your study material upside down. Because limitation means it never means that it is a negative of strategy. Only thing is that you have to be aware of this limitation and try to overcome it. Because the environment is turbulent, because the environment is complex, it doesn't mean that we give up the strategy. It means that our strategic management has to be even better in coping with the environmental volatility, turbulence, and environmental stability. The word turbulence comes from transport sector. If you remember, when you are air travel, at times the pilot tells you that there's a turbulent sky, or when you're sailing in a ship, the captain announces that there's a turbulence at the sea, and the pilot uses the entire navigation system of the aircraft, and the captain uses the entire navigation system of the ship to steer the ship or the aeroplane out of the turbulence, right? So we need strategic management to negotiate the environmental turbulence, and likewise we need strategic management to negotiate the environmental complexity. So idea is not to give up the strategic management, but also to refine it, to improve it, to sharpen our skills and abilities. At this point of time, I will be, introducing you to a beautiful framework given by Reeves. This beautiful book, Your Strategy Needs a Strategy, wherein Reeves talks about the diversity of the business environments which a particular firm faces, and the response of the company or the firm to it. So what I'll be doing is this: I'll be stopping to share for a while, and I will share another tab. Okay, Kapil, I think they will be sending you. So I have already sent it to the institute. They will be definitely sending it. I am sharing the screen again, and I am taking you to a video from the Boston Consultancy Group. BCG, you must be aware if you have gone through the syllabus of the entire study material. Even if you don't, it's a consulting firm. Now, this is a strategy palette. Please, Vijayji, please tell me if this is this can be seen. You can type दिख रहा है, और वॉइस का भी चेक कर लेंगे. मैं अपना वॉइस हटा रहा हूँ. मैंने जब कंप्यूटर वॉइस से किया, मैं फिर भी एक बार को चेक कर लेता हूँ कि मैं दोबारा से आता हूँ. शेयर द स्क्रीन. शेयर द कंप्यूटर साउंड है. आई थिंक साउंड परफेक्ट आना चाहिए, बराबर आना चाहिए. साउंड आ रहा है?
One of the biggest changes in business over the past decade has been an increase in the diversity of business environments, ranging from stable to highly unpredictable, fixed to highly malleable, favorable to harsh. To succeed, leaders need to match their approach to strategy with their business environment. To facilitate this, BCG created the Strategy Palette. Let's explore how it works with a simple example. Your lemonade business is in a stable and predictable environment. Use the classical approach. Analyze, plan, execute. Joggers are your best customers, so position your stand along the trail and become the biggest lemonade business in town. Uh-oh, freak storms. You can't predict the weather, so forget planning. Try the adaptive approach. As the storm clouds move, so does the best spot for your stand. Experiment to track your customers and become the most agile player in your uncertain market. People are bored of lemonade stands on quiet streets. You need to revive your business with a visionary approach. Remember the bus stop by the park? It's dingy, but has the most potential customers. Give it a sweep, fresh paint, decorations. Be persistent. Nice lights. Now, people will line up for your pioneering project. Uh-oh. Jealous grown-up competitors say kids shouldn't put so much energy into lemonade. Regulation may be in the works. You need to shape your environment, orchestrating events to your eventual advantage. Tell customers about the crackdown to gain support, and promote your new Street Vendor Finder app. In return, your new vendor network will push your product. Red alert. The lemon crop has been ruined by caterpillars. Time for renewal. Cut back and save your allowance. Then pick a new growth strategy, say a visionary idea. Sell seasonal drinks like pumpkin spice lattes, hot cocoa, and green smoothies. To succeed, leaders must choose the right approach at the right time in each part of the business, selecting and refining the collage of approaches to stay tuned to changing environments.
So this was a short video on the idea of strategy palette, which I always like to use in my my classrooms. And I'll go back to my presentation. I was here. And the palette, if I may, yeah, this is the strategy palette. And because there are different types of environment, different types of approaches to the strategy formulation become important. Now, at this point of time, I take you to another important word which is used in your syllabus and in your chapter, and that's where I will make a departure now. So far what we have done, we have understood the concept of strategy, and we have used it from the perspective of Gulick and George, who talk about unified, comprehensive, and integrated plan. And then we have emphasized the essential characteristic of strategy as a link between the firm's advantages and the environmental challenges and opportunities. Then secondly, we also saw that the environments in which the firm operates are of diverse nature. So not one mode of strategy formulation, but the various modes of strategy formulation may be necessary. And to this end, we arrive at this diagram of your syllabus or your chapter, wherein a distinction is made between the planned strategy and the reactive strategy, and you get the question in the exams also that strategy is not always proactive; it can be reactive too. And as I said, that the firms need to adapt to the environment when it is uncertain. Now think of a firm which is moving a foray into a foreign country. So you're making a foreign investment. So you are quite well aware of the environment in your home country, but of course you are not fully aware of the environment in the host country, the country where you are moving to. And the best way is to adapt to the environment. Think of McDonald. Of course, McDonald story comes in very many ways. But you see, when McDonald came to India, they realized that Indians are vegetarian, so they brought in what you call aloo tikki burger to satiate the needs of the vegetarian customers. And not only that, they ensured that the aloo tikkis were fried in vegetable oil, not in the beef tallow, which originally they do in
It's 7 o'clock.
in the USA. So therefore, when you are moving to an uncertain location and an uncertain business environment in terms of strategic palette, you have to follow the adaptive, strategy, and therefore you have to continually adapt your products to suit, for example, the local requirements, and that's where probably the idea think global and act local emerged. That because not any two markets are alike, they are different, so the companies have to follow this localization strategy with a view to adapting well in the new business environment. So therefore, chapter 1 is about the approaches to strategy formulation. The strategy may not always be planned. It may actually be adaptive, right? It may not always be proactive, but reactive. What I've done is that I have supplemented this particular image on page 1.6 of your study material with another similar but slightly more elaborative idea. At the moment, I am not reading the text, the case scenario. I will come back to it in later on. I'm not going to the theory of reason or intentional behavior at the moment. So I am just focusing on the classical approach, which just you watched in the video. So, so a part of this slide are not explained. So please bear with me. I am not explaining a part of the slide here. But what I am doing is this, that the strategy actually may not be planned. As you can see on the left panel, the intended strategy or the deliberate strategy, it may actually emerge from the successive decisions that a firm takes. That means you will have to infer the strategy from the successive decisions that a firm has taken. So the strategy may be emergent strategy, and rather than a planned strategy. So it may emerge out of the circumstances in or the continuous adaptation that the firm finds itself in. Now, for example, think global, act local strategy, as we today understand it, has emerged out of the adaptations by the multinational corporations in their local business environments, right? So therefore, we need to discriminate between the emergent strategy and the planned strategy. So planning is one mode, but there are several modes of doing the strategy. I have a slide on the alternative modes of strategy formulation, but I think we need to just focus on this triad, three-dimensional figure given by Reeves on adaptive, shaping, visionary, classical, and renewal approaches to the strategy formulation. And these different approaches, not different strokes for different folks. So the different strategies, different approaches are suitable under different circumstances. So that another, highlight particular phrase which is used in your in your study material, as you know, I said the word framework, and I think it was there in your learning objectives also. Let me quickly go to the study material that you use. Yeah. Second learning objective of your study material, I will put in here on the slide itself for your immediate reckoning. let us mute importance and just focus on the framework of strategic management. One of the learning objectives of your study material is the framework of strategic management. If you control find framework in your study material, you will come across the two terms that this is I'm in here, rational and analytical. So your study material talks about the rational analytical framework of strategic management. In fact, most books follow this rational analytical framework only. Although I have already made it loud and clear that there are various modes of strategy formulation. Now, what is this rational analytical model of strategic management? This model talks about the fundamental elements in Bullock's definition, that you look at the firm's strategic advantage, you will look at firm's strategic advantage, and then you will link it to environmental challenges and opportunities. Right? So obviously, rational analytical model will say you have to look at what are the changes in the business environment, how best you can take advantage of these and take an optimal decision. So typical stages in the decision-making process: defining the problem, and scanning the environment, finding out the alternatives, evaluating the alternatives, choosing the one most optimal, predicting the outcomes, then evaluating the outcomes and the feedback. So this is the rational analytical model of decision making. So the most preferred and the most referred framework of strategic management is the rational analytical model, wherein we emphasize firms' strategic advantages and environmental challenges and opportunities. Of course, I will come to it in my subsequent session tomorrow. What all comprises a firm's strategic advantages, and what are the kind of environmental challenges and opportunities which the firm has to reckon in order to be able to do well. But as I said, let us be very careful about each word which is used in the learning objectives, and develop some content which is related to that particular element if we have to do well in our exam, right? So if there's a question on what do you understand by the framework of strategic management, you may say that the framework of strategic management is a kind of is a set of assumptions, or a set of assumptions that relate to how the strategy should be formulated, and or the belief how the strategy should be formulated. So it becomes a normative model that ideally a strategy should be based upon a consideration of environmental opportunities and threats, and the firm's strengths and weaknesses. Because objectively speaking, if I do not take a plunge into the market on the basis of my strengths, I may actually fail, right? So I have to find a fit. There's a concept in the second chapter which is related to this idea of rational analytical strategic fit. So my strategy must provide the firm a fit with its business environment. So my approach to business should fit well in the imperative of the business environment. Although, as I said, this is not the only model, but this is the most preferred model of strategic management. Now, how this model is applied in your syllabus, my next deliberation will be based upon this. But before we embark upon this aspect, and then also a major aspect in your syllabus about the levels of strategy formulation, we'll take a break here, and then we will come back. A 5 to 7 minute break before we resume this session. Vijayji, we are signing off for 7 to 8 minutes, please. Hello, Vijayji. Welcome back. I have not seen any questions on the question portal. I would be very happy to that this presentation is interactive, wherein you ask me questions and I try to respond to those. Of course, we will, for the moment, restrict ourselves to Unit 1 only, so that we do not miss out on focus. But I hope you are following the scheme that I am, observing here, and I am sticking to the contents of your chapter, and I am trying to bring about elaborations and extrapolations around that particular content. So what we were talking about was that there is a learning objective that requires that states that this chapter will enable you to know the framework of strategic management. But somehow this word framework is not very explicit in the entire chapter. Maybe on the presumption that there is chapter 3 on the process of strategic management, it's okay. But yet you find the clues to the framework when you do a search on the word framework and you arrive at rational analytical framework. And this rational analytical framework essentially talks about the fit between the strategic advantages of the firm and environmental challenges and opportunities. So what I am going to do now is this. And this is a live kind of a analysis before you. And as you will see, I will try and increase the font size even further so that you are able to watch it even better. And I will change the font to Helvetica. Helvetica font story itself is a great story. Maybe at an appropriate stage of the session today, or maybe subsequently, I'll be talking about the fonts. You have in your chapter the levels of strategy formulation, and you have corporate level, and then business level. So, when I'm talking about relating the firm's advantage to the environmental challenges and opportunities, I can look at this rational analytical model vis-a-vis or in respect of strategy formulation or strategic management at corporate, business, and functional levels. Recall, these levels are discussed in your Unit 1, and of course there are separate chapters devoted to strategic management at each of these levels. But I want you to emphasize the framework, right? And as I said, that the strategic management framework is elaborated in chapter 3 on strategic management process. But just to satiate your curiosity and to follow a modular approach, because if I am doing Unit 1, whatever words and phrases are used in Unit 1, I should be able to resolve these here only. I should not depend upon moving to other chapters to get a meaning of what is stated in chapter 1. Now that's the point that I am trying to make here. So if I am talking about the framework of strategic management, then I have to see, and the basic framework is rational analytical, and rational analytical framework emphasizes the firm's environment and the firm's strategic advantages. Then I have to see how it works at corporate, business, and functional levels. Now that's the point that I am making here. So I'll go back to the slide that we were working on live for you, which is here. what I'm trying to suggest is that the level of analysis will change, the scale of analysis will change as we move from the corporate business or functional, or the functional business or corporate level. Just to clarify the point, that corporate and business level dichotomy will be applicable only when a business is a corporation is a multi-business firm. Now, it's a diversified corporation. Because if your product line is the same, then there's no difference between corporate level strategy and the business level strategy. I hope it is clear. It will be clear even better when I articulate environmental context and the firm's advantages. For example, whenever I am looking at the business level strategy, the relevant business environment for me is the industry. So suppose I am an electronics industry, so then electronics firm, say consumer electronics, then the relevant environment for me is the consumer electronics industry. There are other firms in that industry, and there's a government policy with respect to the consumer electronics industry, because these are considered white goods, for example, and any changes in the government policy with respect to the consumer electronics industry will impact me, right? So my unit of analysis is my industry, right? And when I am looking at the corporate level, for example, my unit of analysis could be the country environment, the social, economic, political. And if I am an international firm, so then not only my home country environment, but also foreign country environment, and also the wider international environment of which all the countries are a part, right? So, suppose I am looking at my functional level strategy, formulation. Then I have to look at the relevant part of the environment. One thing. So I hope the rational analytical framework, which looks at the strategic fit between the firm and its environment, can be examined at the successive levels. And at the successive levels, my unit of analysis will vary. When I say successive levels, please do not misunderstand it that functional level is a subset of business level, and a business level is a subset of corporate level strategy formulation. Because these levels are also independent. I might follow for example, finance strategy to achieve above average returns for my firm or for my organization. I hope you have heard of what is called financial leverage. Have you heard of financial leverage? Please type in yes or no, so that I understand that you are with me, you are following me, and you are actually getting the meaning of what I am discussing here. Guys, have you heard of financial leverage? Please tell. Hello. Please respond so that this session is interactive. Anyone? Hello, anyone? No, but they are not responding. The learners are not responding on the question. अच्छा, हाँ, लेकिन तो भी आ नहीं रहा यार। मेरे बीच में मैं क्वेश्चंस पूछता रहा हूँ। पार्टिसिपेंट्स लाइव है भी या नहीं है यार? दिख तो रहा है कि 78 हैं। कितने पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं? 78 ही हैं। लाइव विजय, आप पता चल पा रहा है आपको कितने पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं? हाँ, तो कुछ रिस्पांस आना चाहिए ना। रिस्पांस क्यों नहीं आता है इनका? वो तो मोनोलॉग बन जाएगा। ग्रुप तो इसका मतलब थोड़ा सा, या कोई और दिक्कत, टेक्निकल इशू तो नहीं आ रहा होगा इन लोगों को? अच्छा, आप टेस्ट भेजो तो जरा देखते हैं क्या हो रहा है। Guys, please participate in the class. $78 आया है अभी। आपका तो नहीं आया। हाँ, इंटर इवनिंग में दिख रहा हूँ मैं। इज इट? मुझे क्यों नहीं दिख रहे? मुझे क्यों नहीं? अच्छा, हाँ, नहीं, लेकिन हाँ, अब दिखाई देना शुरू हुआ। ओके। Oh, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Vijay. I could not see your responses to my queries, on the other screen, but I can definitely now see it here. Thank you so much. You have Prateek, Meghna, you have got it right, that the second decision that we talked about was operational decision, and you could distinguish it well. Good. And then we, just a minute. Financial leverage is okay, not able to remember. Now, financial leverage, for example, is the use of fixed cost tax deductible finances to spruce up the earning before interest and earning after taxes to the shareholders to increase the earning per share, right? So therefore, by astute, by smart financial management, by strategic management, I can enhance my returns, to the shareholders and to the firm. So the point here is that the levels of strategy formulation that we are talking, one way to look at is that the business level strategy must fit the corporate level strategy, and the function level strategy must fit the business level strategy. That is where the strategy is a comprehensive, unified, integrated, and comprehensive and integrated plan. Yes, that is true. But as I said, independently too, these levels of strategy can work to gear up the the returns, above average returns for the firm. And this is the precise reason that you find these days the prefix strategic attached to various things. Now, for example, you have courses on strategic financial management. You have courses on strategic marketing management. You have courses on strategic HRM, strategic human resource management. So where the functionalities are aligned to the strategic objective of above average performance of the firm. And so therefore, these functionalities act independently also to provide an above average return to the firm. So this point therefore must be kind of driven home and clearly understood. Harsh has clearly stated that utilization of borrowed funds to generate a higher capital gain for the shareholders, right? So thank you so much, Harsh, for your response. And yeah, debt equity, absolutely earning per share. You are absolutely spot on there. The another aspect of your syllabus was here on the corporate business and function level strategies, and I hope I have been able to clarify these ideas both as what you call subsuming one by the other. That means in the term of tangential circles. If I were to draw some tangential circles for you, that you will be able to understand further. Just a minute, let me quickly take it to here. Okay. So if this is your corporate level strategy, okay, here. So if this is your corporate level strategy, then I will thicken the line for your benefit so that the point is loud and clear to you. So if this is the corporate level strategy, so one way of looking at this is that yeah, I'll put them as tangential circles to each other. And give me a minute, please. Here we are. Okay. Why is not changing? Yeah. So I can put it over here. It's moving slowly, but it will definitely move. Don't worry. This is a tangential circle, right? Oh, the computer is acting funny. Here you are, right? So one way of looking at it is that business level strategy is a part of the corporate level strategy, and then the functional strategy is a part of the business level strategy. One way of looking at it is in a hierarchical relationship, but as I said, it is not the only way to look at the relationship between these three levels of strategy. this is not the only way of looking at these strategies. Yeah, here. In terms of the Venn diagram or whatever, that one is providing the supra context of the other. It's not like that, right? So as I have already mentioned, that these strategy levels also work independently to the larger goal of the above average return for the corporation as a whole, right? That means if a financial strategist or a marketing strategist, may on his or her own, contribute towards the strategic objectives of the firm. And that is the precise reason I emphasize that these days it is, I would not call it fashionable, but it has become very common to find books on strategic human resource management, strategic financial management, and strategic marketing management. Not only that, even within its, for example, within strategic financial management, books on strategic budgeting. So how to ensure a resource allocation in sync with the strategic objectives of the firm. So strategic budgeting. So therefore, the rational analytical model, which talks about strategic fit between the firm's strategic advantages and the environmental challenges and opportunities, operates at corporate business level and functional level. It is not necessary that we look at corporate business and functional level as a, in a hierarchical manner, wherein we look at the business level as a subordinate to corporate level and functional level as a subordinate to business level strategy. Although this is one interpretation, but as I said, this is not the only interpretation when it comes to strategic management. So this is another important facet of your syllabus. Mohini, yeah, okay. So the funny was my inability to move the circles into the tangential circles, but I hope the point is loud and clear as far as the idea of relationship between the successive levels of business are concerned. The last, of course, part of your syllabus, and again a major part of your syllabus in your learning objectives, because we have to keep going back to the framework. So I hope you are with me on this, that we started off with the notion of strategic management with respect to the emphasis on the word strategic, and management as planning, implementation, and controlling, right? And we did a lot of wherein you could distinguish and discriminate between strategic objectives and operational objectives. Of course, I have not taken importance of strategic management and limitation of strategic management in a point-by-point framework, but I have very amply made it clear to you that strategic management enables a firm to negotiate its diverse environments. And in this context, I invoked VUCA, concept of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So strategic management provides clarity of purpose. The strategic management enables us to see through the volatility, turbulent environments, right? So in this context, we and the greatest importance of strategic management, as I have emphasized and as we have discussed in detail, lies in enabling the firm to earn above average, kind of performance. We started with the profits, above average profits, but we came down to the idea of above average performance and linked it to the notion of TBL, that is the triple bottom line. Then, of course, we moved on to the strategic levels, within the organization. And as I said, that one way of looking at the corporate level, business level, and functional level strategy is to view this as business level strategy, kind of complementing or supplementing the corporate level and the functional level, likewise doing it vis-a-vis the business level strategies. But I have already made it clear that independently also a functionality can critically contribute towards corporate strategic objectives, right? So, for example, ability of a firm to generate resources at a low cost of capital, right, greatly enhances its performance prospects, right? So, so if you are able to raise resources globally and at a lower cost, then it contributes to your corporate level performance, because those resources may be allocated among the different business units, right, in terms of their strategic importance, and thereby the corporate performance may be geared up. So these levels act independently as well, and as integrated and unified for a corporate level strategy also. So this is the point that I wanted to make as far as the levels of strategic management are concerned. I hope you are with me, you are enjoying the session, and if there are any queries, I would be very happy to attend to your queries on these aspects of strategic management. And then I will be moving to the last segment of today's session, that is the strategic management in government and not-for-profit organizations. This is a relatively neglected part of your study material, and this is where I am going to emphasize, and this will also give you a holistic picture that the discipline of strategy or strategic management is useful not only for the business enterprises, but also for the non-business enterprises, not-for-profit enterprises, and the business and the government entities too. So even the government has to think strategically, is it not? So government has to judiciously utilize and deploy its resources with a view to getting above average performance for the economy and for the people, right? So to gear greater prosperity for the greater people, so the government has to do it. So in this context, I have, of course, put certain things in your notes also, but categorically, if you look at your syllabus or the chapter, this particular segment emphasizes the educational sector. Yeah. So how is strategic management practiced in educational sector? And when we say educational sector, emphasis is on the government sector and the healthcare sector. Healthcare sector. So I will be taking up a couple of case studies, scenarios here to drive home the point. I have put it on the slide, but doesn't really matter actually. Now look at the educational sector, for example, how the strategic management, kind of contributes to the effectiveness of I'm trying to look at your comments also. Radha, I will come back to your comment because it's a big comment, so I will have to look at it again. Close the color box. Color box, acha, okay, yes, I will close the color box, definitely. Thank you for reminding me this. Control panel of the zone is rather complex. Okay, color palette is gone. Yeah. Now, how, for example, because we are in pandemic and our future strategic management, I think, will have to factor in the pandemic situations, and therefore one cannot escape the fact that pandemic will always factor in. It will come into our discussions of whatever examples that we are taking. There are more observations. Let me just go back to the question panel. Many government organizations are not performing well. Is it due to proper implementation of strategic management? Harsh, it's a good question. And Swati asked me, yes, pictures are worth 1,000 words, and give your own examples. Definitely that enhances your score in the exam. So there's a strategy for the exams also. Examples need to be given, because examples are also needed, to also strengthen your own belief that whatever you are studying is relevant, is it not? When I realize that it is relevant, then my interest in the subject goes up, right? So that's where the finding out the examples is very, very, very important. So when we look at the strategic management in the educational sector, so recently, the government of Delhi, for example, has announced that they will be coming out with a virtual school. Now, this school will not be not be a brick and mortar school. It will be an online school that will be accessed by the learners from anywhere, right? And the entire learning journey, right, from admission to instruction to evaluation and to the imparting of the certificates or whatever, will happen online. So, and this is a strategic decision, is it not? Because it really changes the shape of the educational scenario, not only of the company or of the government, but also probably of the entire country. And this will enable the access to education to the people who may not be able to move from one place to another because of whatever reasons, including the pandemic. Right, and they will be also able to access it anytime. That means those who are working, they may also be able to, access the educational facility online, and therefore, kind of upgrade their qualifications and so on and so forth. So we need strategic management in the education also. One what I will share with you. In the health sector, you would have seen. If I take an example from Delhi, then I will be unfair. For example, in Karnataka, they have the primary health care down to the village level is provided, for example, through what is very popularly called as HSM. Are you guys aware of HSM? It's a model of healthcare. Followed in various parts of the country. Of course, Karnataka is the example that I give. Aditya, it's not only virtual coaching classes, the school that I talked about. the entire journey, entire scholastic journey will be online, right? And anybody will be able to access the educational content from anywhere, and even the exams will happen online, and student progression will also happen online. So that's what, Aditya. Okay. Raj Lakshmi talks about policy and strategy. I will come to it, although we talked about it, and in this session, definitely I will go back to it. I'm talking about the are you guys aware of the HSM, this model? Please write it back, yes or no. Let me see. Let me update whether there have been any responses so far. No, I have not received any. It is called hub and spoke model. I will write it down. So what happens is that you set up a hospital. This becomes the hub, and smaller clinics, in the hinterlands, in the interiors of the state, and those clinics are linked with the hub, and so that the primary health care can be provided nearest to the to the point of illness. And should there be any need for hospitalization, etc., the patient can be referred to the hospital. So now this requires strategic thinking, is it not? The idea is to how to provide healthcare to so many people. If you remember, if you have been following up management of COVID, especially in Maharashtra, for example, in Bombay, they took recourse to telemedicine, very successfully, and they could, even check prevent the spread of the, virus COVID-19 in densely populated locations of Mumbai, and of course they could attend to the patients far distant through their telemedicine program. And now they intend to extend this telemedicine for primary health care and so on and so forth. So we need strategic thinking across sectors, whether the non-government or the government sectors, Of course, I have talked about the disinvestment strategy. That itself is a strategic decision, and wherein the government is trying to raise, to unlock the, the wealth in the public sector assets, and to channelize it into the schemes of government. And how is that different issue at the moment? We are not discussing. We are not discussing the pros and cons of a particular strategic choice. And in fact, having said this, let us acknowledge it upfront right here that every strategic choice, entails its own returns and this. So therefore, rational analytical model says to be aware of the returns and risks of your choices, right? So as I said, I'm not getting into the merit of the hub and spoke model or telemedicine or so on. But what I'm trying to say is that you have to think strategically to arrive at solutions to the problems that you are facing. So be it the business organization or be it the government organization. That's the point that I was trying to make. So, and objective, of course, is to arrive at above average return, but the objective is also to manage your risks. So in economics and in management, everything is ceteris paribus, keeping other things constant, right? So this is very important. Yes, Shubrata, Shirsagar, absolutely. HSM in rural areas is very useful in optimal utilization of healthcare resources. Because the villages tend to be far flung, right? And the population density is low. So that you cannot imagine setting up of a hospital there. But what you can do is that you can send your primary healthcare workers there. So you can do mobile clinics, right? So because you are talking about health sector, you can do mobile clinics who fan out to the interiors of the state, and these are linked with the hub, maybe at the district level or somewhere, where the critical patients can be moved from the localities there to the hub there. So Nitish Jha, transport topology optimization. Well, to the extent you associate accessibility to the transportability, yes, it is. But look at it more strategically in terms of the problem and the solutions, right? So that is what we need to. So I would not. I would desist from stating it only an instance in transport topology. I would rather look at it as a business model, to optimize the utilization of the resources without compromising on the service delivery and service quality. So that's how. Yes, to the extent it may include logistics. Yes, it is a transport topology optimization too. Good that you introduced this idea, Nitish. Shabash, good job. And so with this, we have been able to highlight the strategic management in the government and the not-for-profit organizations, and I can extend this idea to corporate business and also. For example, raising money for the social enterprises. That idea of crowdfunding. So how you use the crowdfunding model for raising, cheaper finance for the social enterprises, right? So this is a strategic financial management for non-government enterprises. So, in fact, I always say it's become, almost a cliche to use the word strategic, right? So, strategic HRM. Then what I can do is strategic HRM for non-business enterprises, right? Wherein you use interns, so you offer internships to the college students and to the school students. These internships are not necessarily paid internships, but these are exposure, internships wherein the participants learn, to scale up the service provision in difficult situations. So there are very many ways of. Ramkumar asked me to explain the emerging strategies. Okay, I go back to my the slide on the definition of strategies. It is right up there. You can see, I refer to Gulick and George, and I looked at Willen and Hunger. Now look at Mintzberg's, definition that a pattern of response to its environment over a period of time to achieve its goal and mission. Now suppose I start a particular business, right? Look at what various firms did in the pandemic. Now, suppose they're into HDP or plastic or whatever, disposable bags. But now there is a need to get into disposable surgicals or the gloves or the masks and so on. So the firms diversified, or the PPE kits. So and likewise. Some other eventuality comes and you diversify into other things. So what happens is that you become a diversified organization by that you have taken. I might sit back and say that diversification is a growth strategy. But look, it was not intended. For example, diversification into PPE kit was not intended. It emerged out of the environmental pressures, right? Or the circumstance changes. But is a diversified and the healthcare plastics, for example. So strategy, as I already said, it is not always a planned strategy. It may be an emergent strategy. At times, it may be a strategy forced upon you by the government. The government might say, okay, you do this. We are in a war. This product rather than the other product, right? So, or the government policy may suddenly change, and then you may shift from a particular material to another material, is it not? So therefore, emergent strategies are observable. All occurred, and after it becomes a pattern. So that is where I have categorically given the example of the Indian business houses, which I did not read. When I said I'm not showing the complete slide, I will show probably that complete slide now, which will be useful for you. Here, yes. Now, as you can see, the case scenario, which I did not read when I showed this slide initially to you, but Ram Kumar's question and Radha's response has kind of triggered me to focus on this. You see, look at the Indian businesses on independence. And the era in which we lived, it was a licensed Raj, as we call it now. So you will venture into the businesses for which you obtain the licenses, right? And you get a cement manufacturing license, you diversify, you start manufacturing cement, sugar, textiles. So now I look back at a particular business group or say, oh, it is a conglomerate firm. It is a diversified firm which beverages, and so it was intended. It just became evident as the firm took successfully later on. Now I can critically comment whether it was a related diversification or unrelated diversification, backward integration or forward integration, right? So this is the typical kind of example of what you call emerging strategies. I hope it is clear. It is clear to you all. I hope. the glitch was resolved instantly, and discussion. I hope the idea of emergent strategies is clear to you all. Yeah. The the technical glitch has been resolved. Vijay ji, see, Radha Iyer seems to suggest that there is some connectivity issue. Vijay ji, is it all right? Hello. Controls. Yeah, it is. Government legislatures issues become politicized, resulting in fewer strategic choice alternatives. Harsh, you see, it is an inevitable aspect of the functioning, right? And you have to factor in this aspect of the business environment, right? So you cannot. It's easy to say it is being politicized, but come on, as a government, you are also a political entity, is it not? So therefore, the parliamentary debate, provides you with an opportunity, pros and cons of a decision, and also the accountability, resulting from it. So to my mind, therefore, it is all healthy, right? Wherein Akanksha also says that there are serious connectivity issues. My voice is lagging. Vijay, can you please resolve this lagging issue of voice? Is my voice still lagging? Please tell me if my voice is still lagging. Hello, Vijayji. I think this experience, the virtual experience, will vary from location to location. Connectivity issues may not be here at the transmission end. This may be even at the receiving end. Ramkumar, Akanksha, Shubrata, Vaishnavi, I can understand, but I cannot help it. So maybe the connectivity issue at your own respective ends. So Harsh, I really like your comment, and definitely a scholar badge for you for your question. Really good that you have brought in to discussion this aspect. Scholar badge for Harsh. And for the reference of all the participants, Harsh has written that in government agencies, strategic issues get debated in media and legislatures, issues become politicized, resulting in fewer strategic choice alternatives. And I said, this is the part of the political environment of which you are a part, and you have to negotiate with it. And not necessarily each time this is dysfunctional. In fact, healthy parliamentary debates probably lead to better decision making, their acceptance, the acceptance of the decisions, and thereby effective implementation. And what is true of the government is also true of the organization. You see, if the decision, I have not mentioned it here, but the strategic decisions, good that Harsh has raised this issue. The strategic decisions may be taken in a top-down fashion. So the top management takes the decision and they expect the lower management to implement it. And you know that those decisions may be idealistic, normative, and the ground realities may be very different, due to which you know the decision may not yield the desired results. On the contrary, what you call the strategic decision making may be bottom up, where the impetus for strategic change comes from the bottom. You know, your salesmen come and tell you that, look, our product is not doing well, competitors have come out with a better version, or they are offering these schemes and discounts to the customers, and therefore we need to do something. We need to do product modification to be able to sustain in the market. So and you know that when the decisions are taken in a bottom-up fashion, in a participative fashion, their acceptance and their implementation becomes that much more effective, is it not? So therefore, as we have already seen, that a strategy provides a link to the firm's strengths, link between the firm's capabilities and the environment in which it operates. We have to appreciate the fact that we need to negotiate with these environmental influences in arriving at optimal choices for our respective businesses. So that is what I meant when I talked about strategic management in the non-government and of course the government sectors. We will see in the course of our discussion that how the various models of strategy formulation are used even in the government sectors to arrive at optimal strategies. For example, the Boston Consultancy Group matrix is used by Ministry of Commerce to find an optimum mix of the product and the market for India's export sector, right? So we will be definitely discussing this. Nandishwaran tells me my voice is buffering for 5 to 10 seconds, but it is resolved. Good. These are the technical issues. Again, we need to cope with. This is the technical environment of e-learning, and we have to negotiate with it. You tell me if my pace of speaking is too high, too fast. So at times, if I speak slowly, then maybe communication is better. You need to tell me so that I can modulate not only the volume of the voice, but also the pace of speech, so that I am not only loud, but I am also very clear. So, but obviously I will need your feedback on this, because when I speak, this is my normal, speed of speaking. But at times, due to the buffering, what will happen is that there will be a clustering of the voice, and that's where probably the ambiguity will come. But if it is happening, then you please let me know. I will slower my pace of speaking. So strategic decisions can be taken top-down and bottom-up. Another important thing which is there in your unit, it is not visible here, but in your study material, because I have sent you the notes. I will try and open the notes for you. I hope you can see the notes now. These notes will definitely reach you. Kindly bear, there must be some issue. One thing that I wanted to highlight here is you will see in my notes that I have also, because the booklet on the case scenario is also there on the website of the institute. So I have linked, okay, my page should be a little slow, rather perfect. So I have also linked these class notes to the case scenarios. I wanted to highlight one particular aspect that I observed in this study material. Give me a minute, because I will take time to recall where I saw that. I'm not able to recall, but the point was somewhere the notion of corporate governance actually came in. That's what I wanted to locate. So maybe the next time when I have a closer look at your chapter 1, I will be able to find it out. Another word that I wanted to highlight was that your study material talks about corporate level strategy in terms of building and managing the corporate portfolio, right? This portfolio figures in, I think, in chapter 2, and so a corporation can be looked at as a portfolio of various businesses. I'm sure you would have done some course on strategic security analysis and portfolio management. And idea is to jack up the overall corporate returns, and right, of course, given its risk complexion. So this portfolio concept comes from the finance, right? One. Another thing was somewhere there was a mention of this. The link, one is the idea of corporate portfolio, and look at the phrase they have used. Corporate level strategy provides a link between the people who oversee the strategic development of a firm and those who own it. I hope you are able to watch this, to read this. I will highlight the. Now, this sentence is very important. It has got lots of connotations, and the biggest connotation that it has, because I'm running short on time, but I will close this concept here only, that chapter 1 itself brings about the idea of corporate governance. Somewhere within this unit, when they describe top level management, they actually board of directors does not comprise a part of the management pyramid, right? Board of directors lie above the management pyramid, and it is the job of the board of directors to oversee the strategic development of a firm. So I hope you are able to kind of correlate the concept of corporate level strategy management to the notion of portfolio, and also to the notion of corporate governance, because it is the job of the board of directors to assist the management pyramid in the strategic development of the firm, to make the right choices, and for the accelerated performance, and we have used the word above average performance. See, it is the job of the board of directors to debate, to contemplate upon what a corporation is, what should be its purpose, what it should be its contribution to society, what its contribution should be to the environment, and then accordingly oversee that these ideas and ideals are implemented by the management team for the effective performance of the business enterprise. So therefore, to my mind, this chapter is the PDF from the institute will duly send it to you. You do not Therefore, sorry. The chapter really introduces you to several concepts which you need to internalize before you are able to prepare fully well and be conversant with the chapters that follow. So in tomorrow's session, although I was expected to take chapter 2, introduce you to the idea of chapter 2 in today's session only, but in my next session, which I think is not tomorrow, it is the day after, if I'm not wrong, Saturday, I will be taking up the chapter 2, dynamics of competitive strategy, and I will be completing it then and there only. So therefore, although I have focused only on chapter 1 today, as against the prescribed norm by the ICAI, but I thought that concept building is critical to the development of understanding of the subject, and I have therefore focused on that. I have introduced 3 important definitions on strategy. I have elaborated Bullock and George definition. I have brought in the definition by Willen and Hunger, and I have also brought in the definition by Milsberg, who talks about strategy as an emerging pattern. Then, with respect to the limitation of strategy, I have tried to bring in the VUCA framework to talk about the various types of business environment. And I have then shown you the video by Reeves on the theme strategy needs a strategy for the different business environments, and we saw that how we may have to rely not only on one approaches but on several approaches to strategy formulation. And I have highlighted the fact that strategy formulation is needed not only for the business sectors, but also the non-business sectors. Also, I have taken examples in the educational sector, health sector, and the monetization ideas in the public sector disinvestment. I have highlighted that how within the VUCA framework, the strategy enables us to negotiate volatility through vision, uncertainty through understanding, complexity through clarity, and ambiguity through agility. I would be looking strategic business unit. Harsh, I explained that a corporation might be a multi-business entity, which is a self-contained unit having its own functionalities. For example, you are cement division, you have got a textile division. So cement division will have its own production marketing, kind of facilities, and the textile division will have its own production marketing, finance, and so on and so forth. So it becomes a SBU, strategic business unit, because it contributes to the strategic objectives of the corporation as a whole. I will be borrowing the idea from responsibility accounting. I don't know whether you have done responsibility accounting or not, but you know that in the responsibility accounting, there are expense centers, there are revenue centers, there are profit centers, and there are investment centers. So an SBU is an independent investment center. It takes its own investment decisions, and therefore, aspires for its own, above average returns, apart from contributing to the returns and risk complexion of the corporation as a whole, right? So I hope I have attended to all your queries, and if there are any questions, you may post it right at the commencement of my next session the day after. I will be very happy to respond to those questions. Vijayji, I think we can stop here and rest the session here itself. Yeah. Thank you so much, dear learners. Hope to see you in my next session.